News out of Israel. Whoa. U.S. President Donald Trump is the first sitting U.S. president ever to visit the Western Wall in Jerusalem. Huge. The Kotel is the holiest place for the Jewish people, Minister Katz said on Tuesday, and I decided to name the Kotel station after U.S. President Donald Trump, in appreciation of his courageous and historic decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of the State of Israel. Transport Minister Yisrael Katz, Likud, on Tuesday approved the recommendations of the Steering Committee of Israel Railways, to establish the Kotel rail station in the Cardo area of the Jewish quarter of Jerusalem, a few dozen years from the Western Wall. Minister Katz also decided to name it the Donald J. Trump Station, after the American president who recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, Yedioth Ahronoth reported. According to the same report, the final outline of the railway project to the Western Wall would include an underground tunnel about 2 miles long, connecting the train station named after the late President Yitzhak Rabin to the Western Wall. According to the plan, the tunnel will include 2 stations, at a depth of about 150 feet, the city center station, to be built at the intersection of King George and Jaffa Streets, and the Donald Trump Station. The tunnel and the 2 new stations will be an extension of the express line between Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, where the ride is expected to take only 28 minutes, going through Ben Gurion Airport, Modain and the Binyamin station at the entrance to the city. In Jerusalem, in the historic birthplace of Jesus on Sunday, with spirits dampened by recent violence sparked by President Donald Trump's recognition of nearby Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Crowds were thinner than previous years, with visitors deterred by clashes that have broken out in recent weeks between Palestinian protesters and Israeli forces. Although there was no violence Sunday, Palestinian officials scaled back the celebrations in protest. Cool weather, and a rainy forecast, also weighed on the holiday cheer. Claire Degout, a tourist from France, said she would not allow Trump's pronouncement, which has infuriated the Palestinians and drawn widespread international opposition, affect her decision to celebrate Christmas in the Holy Land. The decision of one man cannot affect all the Holy Land, she said. Jerusalem belongs to everybody, you know, and it will be always like that, whatever Trump says. Trump abandoned decades of U.S. policy on December 6 by recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital and saying he would move the American embassy to the Holy City. Trump said the move merely recognizes the fact that Jerusalem already serves as Israel's capital and that he was not prejudging negotiations on the city's final borders. But Palestinians, who seek Israeli-annexed East Jerusalem as their capital, saw the declaration as unfairly siding with Israel. Last week, the UN General Assembly voted overwhelmingly to reject Trump's decision. Mr. Trump had said he would be watching very closely at which members of the General Assembly voted for the resolution and which voted against it. Despite implied threats of U.S. funding cuts, the resolution passed. UN General Assembly President Miroslav Lajčák read the final tally, to applause. Only 8 countries stood in defense of the U.S. decision, including Guatemala, Honduras, Israel Marshall Islands, Micronesia, Nauru, Palau, and Togo. While the resolution passed, the vote breakdown tells a different story, a spokesperson for the United States said after the vote, CBS News' Pamela Falk reports. It's clear that many countries prioritize their relationship with the United States over an unproductive attempt to isolate us for a decision that was our sovereign right to make. U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Nikki Haley said the United States will remember this day in which it was singled out for attack in the General Assembly for the very right of exercising our right as a sovereign nation. The announcement triggered weeks of unrest in the West Bank and Gaza Strip, including near-daily clashes in Bethlehem, which lies just south of Jerusalem. By mid-afternoon, hundreds of people had gathered in Manger Square near the city's main Christmas for celebrations, greeted by bagpipe-playing young Palestinian marching bands and scout troops. Accompanying the decorations was a large banner protesting Trump's Jerusalem declaration. Bethlehem's mayor, Anton Salman, said celebrations were toned down because of anger over Trump's decision. "We decided to limit the Christmas celebrations to the religious rituals as an expression of rejection and anger and sympathy with the victims who fell in the recent protests," he said.